I'm down about a pound. So right now I'm still gaining some muscle and still losing some weight. You can see even more muscle in my legs. My back has really leaned out a lot this week. But I'm not gonna lie, I am so tired. So tired after eliminating 10 grams of carbs per meal. The change for this week is on the days where I don't lift weights, there's 2 of them, I only have 10 grams of carbs per meal. If you're familiar with how many grams of carbs are in things, this is not even a slice of bread. It's barely a bunch of grapes, and it's not even half an apple. A common question I get in my comment section is how do I train and how do I lift weights? Because I'm gaining muscle and losing weight, pretty much the holy grail for most people. Trust me, this isn't gonna last for very long. I think this might be it. Maybe in the next week or 2 that will stop and it will just be fat loss by then. But today I'm gonna show you how I train. Actually this week I'm gonna show you all 5 days on how I train. This isn't a special plan. I'm surprised that Shelby took over my training. If you look from the very first video, you can tell at the very beginning that I wasn't trained. I wasn't trained very well. I was going to the gym maybe 2 times a week if I was lucky. Now I had been more trained several years ago, but over a longer period of time it's dwindled just a little bit. People want to know the exact name, there isn't one. It's just a generic high volume plan where I go 5 days a week. The very first day, on Monday, I do incline dumbbell bench press. I do a warm-up, 3 sets of 15 to 20, whatever gets me warmed up, whatever gets the pump flowing just a little bit. And then I find a weight where I try to do a set for 12, then a set for 10, a set for 8, and then a set for 6. And ideally the weight would climb up. And of course, this should be pretty tough by the end. The next thing I do that day is incline barbell bench press. So this one is done for 8 sets of 8 reps at a weight that is manageable. By the end of the 8th set, it should be very difficult for you to proceed. The next thing that I do are these stretch push-ups. So I give myself a little bit of space. That's why I do it on the steppers. Get a nice stretch at the bottom, and then I do 3 sets until failure. And trust me, the failure is not fun. And then I do kettlebell side laterals. You can do dumbbell side laterals too. I never took these seriously when I did powerlifting, but these are actually really handy for me because you can tell that my back and my chest have gotten really tight over the years. Doing something like this is nice to get some flexibility back and just to get some movement in that area. I do 8 sets of 8, nothing super heavy, no need for too long of a rest, about 1 minute in between each. 64 total reps. And then I do these rope pushdowns. I'm sure you've seen these at the gym. At every single gym, there's somebody who does this. I do 8 sets of 10 with 45-second breaks in between, and then I try to get a little hold at the bottom. We go for about 1 second hold. And that's it. Workout is finished for Monday. The second day for me is Tuesday, and it's back and bicep. From here, I do dumbbell rows, and I just warm up very briefly with about 2 to 3 sets of high reps, maybe 15 to 20, not a huge deal. And then I do 8 sets of 8. For these, I could do heavier weight, but I'm gonna stick with this weight for right now because I wanna try to get my form right. If you can tell, you can see my posture problem as I do these reps. And I believe that this is something that's going to correct over a longer period of time. But as of right now, my posture is quite a bit different than it was about 10 years ago. And had I not been doing this, it would be getting worse and worse. And this is the worst part of the entire week, is this chin-up death. I do 12 sets of chin-ups. 4 of them are going to have the moderate grip, 4 of them are going to have the close grip, 4 of them will have the supine grip. And Shelby's requirement is if I can't get at least 6 per set, then I need to use an assist machine. Luckily, in this week's video, I didn't need the assist machine, but in the previous weeks, I definitely needed that assist. And I used a rubber band to help me pull myself up. It's a little embarrassing, but for somebody who hasn't done pull-ups for so long, well, You take what you can get. Next, I do some additional rowing movements, and for this, I do 3 sets of 10. This one's not exactly particular, and I know for me, it was just to get myself back in the gym. I did some shrugs for this week, and then I did easy bar curls. And that's it. Workout finished.
This is most disturbing. I'm trying to get to sleep.
Here's where the video gets weird. If you see from this back and bicep day, I was actually starting to kind of lose it. I'm really tired right now, and this is starting to really drag. When I trained for powerlifting, I would have 3 weeks of increasing intensity, and then I'd have 1 week of deload. So deload is anything from 30 to 60% of what I was handling the previous 3 weeks. Or, in some cases, that 4th week, I just wouldn't even go to the gym at all, and I'd do some stretching, I'd do some cardio. It wasn't big. It was a nice scheduled rest that I did. Now, I know Shelby's style is not to have scheduled rest, and that if you can keep pushing, then keep going. But for me, I know myself, and I need to have that scheduled break. It's a mental thing, and that's just how I work. But what I typically do for day 3, which ends up becoming on Wednesday, is that it's glutes and hams. So for this particular one, I do leg curls, and for here, 7 sets. And Shelby wanted me to do something a little bit more complicated with a laying down leg press, but I don't have that. I have a sitting up one, which I'm really unhappy with. And this is just what happens when you go to a gym like this. But I just do as many reps as I can. He said go until failure. I've torn my hamstring before, so going to failure is a little bit scary for me on this particular one, especially now that my work capacity on my hamstrings have been a little lower. So we're just gonna leave it like this and just do as many reps as I can for 7 sets. And then as we progress, maybe if I go to a different gym, I'll be able to pull off something different. But around where I am, I can't find a laying down leg curl machine. I'm supposed to do stiff leg deadlifts on this, but I mentioned in video number 1 for week 0 that I injured my back, so I replaced the deadlifts with leg press. Forgive me, Shelby, but there's at least some volume that's being put on with the lower body, and I think that the leg press has been a little bit more responsible for putting on some of the muscle that have shown up on my legs recently, because God knows it's been about 10 years since I've actually done leg press. Usually I just squat, but of course your body adapts to it and then you no longer change, and I got into the mess that I was in. One thing that I haven't done since 2003, around the time that I started going to the gym, was lunges. And for this particular day, I did lunges, 4 sets of 10 with each leg. You take 20 steps total and count that as 1 set. You hold some moderate dumbbells, nothing huge. For this one, I tried to get a nice stretch in my quads, and I tried to have my knee almost touch the floor. And the final lift for Wednesday are these hyper extensions using your hamstrings. Now, almost every single commercial gym I've seen has this machine, so this is fine. Just make sure that you use your hamstrings when you're doing this. I put my hands above my head to increase the torque. It makes things just a little bit more difficult. For this, we do 3 sets to failure with just body weight. And then workout is finished. So what I mean by this video is starting to get weird is actually for this week I skipped day 3, and it's not because it was leg day or anything, but it's because I needed a break. I was going to the gym 2 times a week before starting this. All of a sudden 5 times a week plus cardio 5 times a week. It gets kind of hard on your body. I mean, when you need some sleep, you just feel exhausted all the time, you do need some time off, and actually that deload period is the time when you get bigger. That's when you actually put on the muscle because you're starting to recover. And if you're not recovering and the weights start going down, then it's going to hurt your progress in the long term. So I don't mind taking these 2 days off. What Shelby told me to do is cut carbs down to 10 grams of carbs per meal, maintain 50 grams per meal of protein, and then 15 grams of fat. And then on my day back on Friday, I would be doing arm day, and I would go at 65% of the weights that I had planned for. Now for the 2 days of rest, just do steady state cardio, no high intensity intervals. So low carbs and only steady state cardio first thing in the morning, and that was my 2 days of deload. Now for me, day 4 is off, so that is usually Thursday. We usually take that off anyway, so I only missed one workout, but the footage is from last week. Day number 5 on Friday is shoulders and arms. This is probably the easiest day. There's no bench press, there's no heavy compound movement. It's really isolated work on small muscle groups. We start with these bent over rows that are done laterally, 8 sets of 8, nothing too heavy. And you can tell these are very light weights. And then we move on to dumbbell side laterals, 8 sets of 8 again, just like we did on Monday. And then we do this lift that Shelby calls 6 ways. We do 4 sets of 8. So 1 rep consists of moving out to the side, going into the middle, going up, and then back down again, and that's considered 1 rep. We're gonna do 4 sets of 8. Usually for this, I do a lighter weight because if I go above 10, then it starts to kind of fatigue me, and you want to keep some form. You want to keep your chest straight. You want to keep standing up straight. It's just an accessory lift. There's no need to get crazy over the form. Just make sure you do it right. Then we do these rope pushdowns again, just like we did on Monday, 8 sets of 10. Hold at the bottom for 1 second each. 45-second rest in between sets. And then we do dumbbell kickbacks. Now, I have never, ever done these in my entire 15 years so far of lifting. I always kind of thought that they were a waste of time, but just for this particular plan, we'll go ahead and do it, maybe give my triceps a little bit of shape. And for this, you want to make sure that your palm is facing back, so pronated grip, and then you do 8 sets of 8. I think these are only like 15 pounds, so nothing huge. And then we end the workout with easy bar curls, 8 sets of 8, 45-second rest in between. There's a lot of volume in this, you can tell. So workout for day number 5 is over. Day number 6 is off, so we do high intensity intervals for cardio. We're at the gym every single day. All 7 days a week, we're there. Day number 7, leg day. We're gonna start this one pretty easy. We do a standing calf raise, and we're going to do 5 sets of 20, 1-minute rest in between. These have never been substantial. I've always had small calves, so these are whatever for me. Some people love loading up the calf machine with crazy weights, but yet they can't even squat 315, so okay. The next lift that we do is these leg curls. So again, these were supposed to be laying down, but I have only the machine that sits up. We do a set of 15, then 12, then 10, then 8, increasing weights every single time. And Shelby had specific instructions on here, which he's gonna kill me for saying this, but I've never done that. On the last set, after you finish the 8 reps, do 15 partial range reps out of the bottom stretch position. Just come up about 6 inches or so. That's easier to do when you're laying down and your stomach is facing the ground, but I'm not in that position. I don't have that machine to do it. It's a little bit harder to do when you're sitting down and you're pushing on the weights rather than sitting with your stomach to the ground and pushing up. The next lift is leg extensions. So we're gonna do 3 sets of 10, and we're going to try to hold it up at the top for about 2 seconds. And then we add a little bit of weight to each set. These are just accessory lifts. I think they're partly responsible for the development of muscle in my quads so far during this program, but I could be wrong. So the next 2 lifts were replaced by leg press for me, but you're supposed to do squats, and you're supposed to do 8 sets of 8. Challenge yourself and all reps to be with good form. And then also the stiff leg deadlifts should be 4 sets of 10 reps. Try to get a good stretch on all of the reps and squeeze your glutes at the top. For me, I replaced it again with the leg press, but I really doubled down on the leg press. I did 12 sets of 4 plates on each side with the leg press. And after that, we go ahead and we do lunges. 2 sets of 20 reps, and then workout is finished. That is a whole week's worth of lifting for me. Now for me right now, I pick 3 of those days where I go to lift weights and I do 30 minutes of cardio. I can do it first thing in the morning before breakfast. I can do them after the workouts. I can do them during lunchtime. I don't think that there's a particular time that you need to do them. If you do them in the morning, you get it knocked out right away. If you do it at the end of the workout, you don't really like doing it because you just want to be done with the workout. You just want to go home. Like, I don't want to be at the gym for too long. but it saves me that extra trip if I do it at the end of the workout. Regardless, 3 times a week I do 30-minute of steady state cardio. 2 days a week I do high intensity intervals, and I do 5 days of lifting so far. It's a high volume training set. It's not anything special. It's pretty generic. It's not named. I don't believe that this is going to give you huge strength gains. And had I done something like this in my powerlifting days, this is something that I would have done before I started a 16-week training set before competition. This would have been nice to do for maybe a month or 2 leading into the 16 weeks of formal training, but this isn't anything huge. And of course, the weights aren't exactly that big either, but that's not our point. Our point right here is to get my body used to a higher volume and to help me with some weight loss, some fat loss. These are additional calories that I'm burning being in the gym. And to me, that's perfectly fine. I'm not going for strength. I don't have a competition coming up soon. This isn't something that you should follow all the time too. You should change it up. Maybe after about a month or 2, maybe lower the volume and increase the weights. And first and foremost, I'd only go 4 days a week if you want to go for strength. I think next week there's going to be a lot of changes, a lot of progress. I feel much better after deloading. And oh man, it's just so refreshing to finally get a few days off here and there, even though it's really only one workout that was missed. I don't feel bad about that one particular day, because typically when I'm training for powerlifting, I'll just take the whole damn week off. And you know what's funny is that the next week that I'm back, I'm even stronger than I was that 3rd week. Thanks so much for hanging out with me this week and checking in with my progress for fat loss, and I will see you next week. Adios, amigos.